The tourist, out of boredom, poured his hot drink over the royal guard, believing his status gave him the right to everything. The guard barely stayed on his feet, and a fight seemed inevitable. But his composure amazed everyone present, saving the situation from chaos. What happened next not only changed the course of the day, but also the perspectives of all the witnesses. Discover how one moment transformed everything around them. The sun softly illuminated Westminster Abbey, and the streets of London were bustling with tourists from around the world. Among them stood out one particularly noticeable tourist, John, dressed in a bright Hawaiian shirt and clearly having overindulged in evening drinks. He staggered on his feet, barely keeping his balance, and laughed loudly, attracting the attention of passers-by. Alexander, an experienced guard with unwavering discipline, stood at his post in front of the abbey. His stern gaze carefully monitored the crowd, ready to protect traditions and maintain order. Alexander took pride in his service, symbolizing honor and respect for British heritage. He was accustomed to various tourists, but today he felt that the day would be anything but ordinary. John, noticing Alexander, decided that he would be the target of his attention. He approached closer, laughing and staggering, and, unable to control himself, spilled his hot drink directly onto the guard's uniform. The liquid splashed onto Alexander, causing a small burn injury. Alexander barely remained on his feet, his face showing pain, but he maintained his composure. John, despite the incident, was not about to stop. He chuckled, waving his arms and mocking, "Oh, come on, it's just a drink. Relax, man." Alexander, holding back the pain, looked at John with a cold gaze. "I'm sorry, but your aggression is unacceptable. Please, step back." The crowd began to gather around, some laughing and filming the scene on their smartphones. John, not hearing, continued, "You think your uniform gives you the right to everything? I'm here to have fun." Alexander remained calm but felt the tension rising inside. John took another step forward, trying to touch the guard's uniform. Alexander cautiously stepped back, trying not to provoke further aggression. At that moment, a small boy ran out from the crowd, having lost his way. He was crying and looking for his father. Seeing this, John tried to use the situation to further irritate Alexander. "See? You can't even handle children." Alexander instantly switched to helping the child. He carefully took the boy by the arm and led him to the crowd, confidently maintaining order. John, seeing this, froze in place, his face showing growing confusion and slight remorse. The crowd began to understand the seriousness of the situation. Many started applauding Alexander, admiring his dedication and humanity. John, realizing that his actions had spiraled out of control, tried to apologize, but his words were tangled in his drunken thoughts. "Sorry, I didn't mean..." Alexander, looking at John with compassion, decided to show the true meaning of traditions. He carefully adjusted the boy's clothing and said, "Sometimes traditions require not only strict adherence, but also understanding human weaknesses. Please, go home and rest." John, touched by Alexander's kindness, nodded quietly and began to walk away. The crowd was already capturing this moment, which quickly went viral on social media. The next day, the video of the incident between Alexander and John became a sensation on social media. Viewer comments were full of admiration for his behavior and condemnation of the tourist for disrespecting traditions. Many wrote, "A true hero. Alexander, you are an example for all of us. People like John ruin London's image." Some even suggested awarding Alexander for his steadfastness and humanity. John, realizing his mistake, was escorted out of the landmark by staff, and his behavior became a topic of discussion among other tourists. Alexander, returning to his post, received applause from colleagues and passers-by. He took his place again, adjusting his hat and smiling through the pain, knowing he had done the right thing. At the end of the day, Alexander noticed a group of children watching him with admiration, and one of them quietly said, "You're a real hero, Alexander." Alexander simply nodded, feeling satisfied with preserving traditions and protecting cultural heritage. Although the day had started with chaos, it ended with a triumph of resilience and respect, reminding everyone of the importance of traditions in the modern world. John, returning home, thought long about what had happened. He realized that his actions were not only disrespectful, but also harmful to himself. From then on, he decided to respect the traditions of other cultures and no longer let alcohol control his actions. The story of Alexander and John became an example of the importance of patience and respect for traditions. Alexander continued his service with even greater respect from tourists and locals, and John found the strength to change his behavior, inspired by the example of a true hero.